Born in Vienna, in Austria, in 1921. If you want to know, as you can, it's good. If you're good at arithmetic, I'm now on the 17th of April. In a few days, I'll be 94 years young. I don't consider myself old. I'm a young man of 94.
When your parents sent you to another country, how old were you, and where did they send you?
I was in 1938. I was 17 years old. That my parents sent me away to Belgium.
In Belgium, did the Nazis take over, and then did you have to go again, or did you stay in Belgium?
No, I ran away from Belgium when the Nazis occupied. I ran away to France.
And in France, what did you do in France?
In France, I was taking. I got myself some false identification papers. I became a Frenchman from Alsace-Lorraine, not Jewish. I was a Frenchman, and with these false papers, I went and took in Place Montmartre, on Place Pigalle, I took German soldiers into nightclubs and cabarets.
When the Nazis came into France and they occupied France, did you join the French resistance?
I was there already during occupation.
Did you join the French resistance?
Yeah, I've joined the French resistance in 1942.
Do you know what happened to your what was your life? Was your life different before the war? And
Say it again.
Before the Holocaust and after the Holocaust, was your life very different?
Oh, very much so. Yes, very much, very different.
When you were in Auschwitz, did you think you would get out? Did you think you would leave the camp?
I must tell you something, because I'm an optimist. I always have positive thinking. I never, because if you are pessimist, you give up. I never gave up. I knew I'm going to be alive because of my attitude, positive attitude. And this is the reason why I'm alive today. And I would recommend you never be a pessimist. Always believe everything will be all right.
While you were in the camp, as you say, you had optimism, so you thought of the best. Why do you think the other people didn't live for 2 years in the camp and died earlier and didn't get liberated?
I don't know. I can't talk about other people because as far as I'm concerned, I only can tell you about my life, not of other people.
Were you ever close to being killed in the camps?
Close
To getting killed?
Yeah, once.
Which camp was it in?
In Auschwitz. Because we had in Auschwitz, we also had British prisoners of war were also working in a place where we were working in a German chemical factory. And very often the British prisoners of war, they were able to smoke, they were able to get parcels in from England. And we were always trying to get cigarettes from them, because if I can get hold of a cigarette and take it back to the camp, I can exchange it for food, because we always were so hungry, always. I didn't want to smoke, but I want to go and exchange it for food, for a piece of bread or something. So one day I got caught when a British prisoner threw a cigarette towards me. I picked it up, and the German saw me picking it up and put it in my pocket. Immediately of punishment, because I was picking up a cigarette, which was very, very bad, I got 20 hits on my naked bottom from the Germans, and it was so painful. I collapsed. I was really, I thought I'm going to die there. This was a very bad part.
How much did you get? How much food did you get?
How much food I got?
How much food did you get every day?
I will tell you what food we got. In the morning, when we got up in the morning, we got a black coffee. With the coffee, we also got a slice of thin bread with a margarine on it. And we ate it, then we went to work. We went to work at 12 o'clock, 12:30 or 1 o'clock. We stopped work for half an hour and we received a bowl of hot soup. It was very liquid, hardly any vegetables in it, just hot soup. And then we went back to the camp at 6:30 in the evening, and when we arrived where we slept in the block, we received another bowl of soup. That's all we had, day in and day out, nothing else, never ever.
Did you ever find any food, or did you ever take any other food from other people?
Yes. I'm ashamed to say, because we were all, for us to eat, the hunger that we have, it was so important to survive. You had to survive, you had to get extra food. So once I saw a prisoner, also in striped uniform, to hide a piece of bread in his mattress where he slept. And when he went out, I went and stole it to him. I'm ashamed to say, because you didn't think of anything else except to get hold of some food. But I'm not very proud of what I did now. I'm very ashamed to talk about it.
Also, apart from handing in cigarettes, was there any other way to get extra food? Did you ever find food when you were, when you'd gone out to work?
I was a very lucky guy because I had a very good friend who was a doctor, a French doctor, also in striped uniform, prisoner, a Jewish doctor. And because he was a doctor, he was in charge of the hospital in Auschwitz. So when I was hungry and I saw him in the camp, because I met him, we became very good friends before we went to Auschwitz in France. And he said, "Look, Freddie, come to the hospital at night. I will try to find extra food for you." And really, I went every night. Every night I went to the hospital, and sometimes he found me a piece of bread. Sometimes he found me a bowl of soup. Once, I will never forget, he found me a piece of salami. Unbelievable, a piece of salami in Auschwitz. It was so wonderful. And I'm sure that I'm alive today because of that extra food I had from my friend, Dr. Robert Weiss was his name, Dr. Robert Weiss.
Do you know if he's alive today?
No, he died. I know he died. He was liberated. He went back to his family in Strasbourg, in France, but he died 3 months before I was able to see him again. 3 months, but I'm still happy with his family. You know, I emailed to his wife and his 2 daughters in Strasbourg. I'm very friendly with his family.
Did you make friends with any other people, and were you ever betrayed in the camp or before the camp?
The only time I was betrayed was a girlfriend of mine, which I jilted. You know what means jilting?
No.
No, I didn't want to have anything to do with her anymore because she was a very moody girl, and I was fed up with her. So I said, Jacqueline was her name in French. I said, "No, Jacqueline, you go your way, I go my own way," when she had her moods. And she didn't like that. She went to me and she smacked my face and she ran away. And because she knew I was in the resistance, I was in the Maquis, you know, the French resistance, I thought to see her again because I was afraid that she will tell the French or the Germans that I'm in the resistance, and really, she really went and told the French gendarme that I was in the French resistance, and this is where they arrested me.
Also, in the camp, such terrible things were happening. Did you believe in Hashem, and did you believe that Hashem would save you? Or did you forget about Hashem but you stayed Jewish?
No,
you
I believed in Hashem. I was always a great believer in God, in Hashem. Maybe I prayed to him and I talked to him, to Hashem in camp, and maybe he helped me to be alive.
Do you ever think that there'll be another Holocaust in the world? In the world today, because of all the bad things that are happening? Do you think there'll be another one?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
When you were in the camp, you went out to work every day. Did you always work in different places, or did you also work? Did you always work in the same place?
In the German chemical factory, always in the same German chemical factory.
What did you do there?
At first, when I started to work there, I had to carry 25 kilo cement bags on my shoulder. And we had to take this cement bag to a building and emptying it. And because they needed cement to build new buildings.
Or more prisoners?
And we were not allowed just to walk with it. They forced us to run with these 25 kilos. It's very heavy, 25 kilos. And if we didn't run fast enough, the Germans hit us for making us run faster.
Did you ever do any other work?
Yeah, because then my friend Dr. Robert Weiss, who had contacts with the administration, he got me out of this hard work. And I got an easier working place, where I had to just sweep the floor. That was wonderful. No more hard work. It was fantastic to just doing nothing else but sweep the floor.
Did you ever lose your, how do you say, your mind?
My what?
Did you ever think or go crazy in the camp, or think that?
No, I never go crazy, because I believe that I will be alive. I will come out of it because of my attitude, my optimistic attitude. I knew I'm going to be okay.
While you were in the camp, did you know any people that got taken from?
Who got what?
Do you know any people that got taken from where you were staying and you never saw them again?
Yes, quite a lot. Because if people collapsed and they couldn't work anymore, the Germans took them away and we never saw them again.
So when you collapsed, when he found you with a cigarette, did they almost take you away?
No, because I didn't collapse. It was hurtful when he hit me, but I had to go to a hospital, and there my friend Dr. Robert Weiss took care of me. I was there for several days in hospital.
In a hospital, did you get more treatment or more food?
Yeah, get better food.
When you went to the camp and they told you either to go to the right or to the left, did you know what happened if you go to the right or to the left?
Yeah.
So when you went,
we heard about from the prisoners that there's going to be selection, and I know that when we had to undress completely and go in front of the Nazi doctor, it could be Dr. Mengele, maybe, I don't know. And I put my chest out and I smiled at him to show them I'm okay, I can work. But some people who were like that, sometimes they take him away and we never saw them again.
Who were most of the people who got taken away?
I don't know.
Were they?
I'm older, because I was a young boy then. In 1942, 1943, I was 21, 22 years old.
Also, did you know what happened to your parents while you were in the camp?
I didn't know anything what happened to my parents, but after I knew what happened to my parents 50 years after liberation.
How did you find out?
Because I was in England at that time, and the BBC asked me to come to Auschwitz. They wanted to film me in Auschwitz. And when we arrived in Auschwitz, the director of the Auschwitz Museum knew that I was coming to Auschwitz with the BBC. So he said, oh, he got me all the papers. He found so many papers in my name of registration papers which the Nazis put on, and he gave me the papers. And he said, we also have 2 papers here for some other Knoller, because my name is Knoller, Knoller, and it's a very unusual name. He said, yeah, maybe this Knoller is related to you. He said, what's your first name? The first name was David and Marie Knoller. He said, oh, these are my parents. And from the director from the Auschwitz Museum, I found really what happened to my parents. My parents were deported from Vienna in 1942, were taken to Theresienstadt, which was in Czechoslovakia. And Theresienstadt, they were always together in Theresienstadt until November 1944. And just 3 months before the Russians liberated Auschwitz, my parents were taken from Theresienstadt to Auschwitz, and they were put in the gas chambers, and they were killed in Auschwitz on the 22nd of November 1944.
Did you have any brothers or sisters when you were in Vienna?
Yeah, my 2 brothers. One actually left Vienna, went to England, and the other one went direct from Vienna to America.
Do you know what happened to them?
No,
Are they
yes,
still alive?
they became alive. They stayed alive, naturally. They were not under the Nazis.
Wait, were they older than you or younger than you?
Older. I was the youngest. My middle brother, Eric, he was 2 years older. And my oldest brother, Otto, who was 5 years older than me.
Did you get married after the war?
Yeah, I met an English girl in America, because I went to America
To see
after
your
the
brother?
war. Pardon?
Was that to see your brother?
To see my brother, naturally. They sent me papers. And I met an English girl in Baltimore, Maryland, and we met in October 1950. We got engaged in November 1950, and we got married on the 31st of December 1950. You know, we Yanks are very fast.
How long was it after the war, the Holocaust, when you went to see your brother in America?
In 50 years after liberation, 1995, I went 1995, 1990, some 1949, 1994, 1995. No, I don't know.
And when did you see your English brother? Did you ever?
My English brother. I didn't have an English brother.
I mean, which was sent to England.
Oh,
Which went to
because
England.
after we got married on the 31st of December in America, my wife became homesick for her parents in London, and we, after 2 years in 1952, we decided we come to England, and I came to England here in 1952.
Well, when you were liberated from the camp, did you feel free, or did you feel free in the last days when the Nazis all left the camp and had given up, and no one had come yet, but you were all like together, and you knew that if you were sharing your food and everything, you were going to survive? When did you feel free? When did you feel?
Well,
that,
as soon as we were liberated, it was wonderful for me to be with the British Army. Actually liberated us in Bergen-Belsen, actually.
and where did they take you?
They've taken me back to France.
And from France, where did you go?
In France, I stayed in France until I found my brother, who was in the American Army. He was in France. And then my brothers sent me my papers to go to America.
When you met your brother, or when you met your family members, did you feel really happy that you had seen, that you had actually seen them and you were seeing family again?
Yeah, sure, I was very happy.
And did you ask him if he knew what happened to your parents? Or
Oh no, I told my story. I didn't want to talk about it. For 35 years, even after I got married, went back to England, even to my family, I never wanted to talk about it. I wanted to forget about what happened.
Did you talk to your wife about it?
No, not at all. For 35 years I didn't talk. They knew that I was in Auschwitz because of my number, you know.
Yeah.
We have a number on my arm here, you know. And they wanted to know what happened. But I never wanted to talk about it because I wanted to forget. Until one Friday night when we had Shabbos dinner, we had two daughters. At the time, the two daughters, one was 19, the other was 21. And they said, look, if you don't tell us what happened to you in Auschwitz, this is not fair if you don't talk about it, because what are we going to tell our children about their grandfather if you don't talk about it? And somehow it made sense. It made sense. I started on that evening, I started talking about it. And this is when I started to talk. And now I never stop talking, because now I lecture in school, I go to all schools telling my story, and to organization. At least once a week I go and tell my story, my whole story, to children and students in schools.
And also now, do you ever have any, like, maybe nightmares, or you?
No,
in your
no
dream,
more.
you
After
never-
I start, before I talked about it, I had loads of nightmares. But after I talked about it, no more nightmares. No, I'm a very happy man.
It's amazing. Thank you. Hey,
Thank
John?
you for your time.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Wow. Thank you.